Nudging from him, perhaps. It's a good ball. Racing. It goes towards Owen Roy. Brilliant save, it's in! Wolves has scored! Leicester City are in dreamland now! Vardy in the middle. This could be a huge moment. Vardy scores! And it's pandemonium in Leicester.
Mahrez with his left, Albrighton with his right. It is Mahrez, it's a good ball in. Morgan's there, it's in! Leicester City score! It is a captain's goal from Wes Morgan, who lifted the Premier League trophy in May. He might have played a big part now in taking Leicester City through to the quarter-finals of the Champions League.
Lift the trophy to the skies. Leicester City are the champions of the Premier League. 5,000 to 1.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Blue Tinted Glasses for finally the long-awaited Martí Cifuentes appointed stream. Here we are. Finally, Leicester City have confirmed the appointment of Martí Cifuentes as the new manager. And Neil, before we bring stuff up and have a look and have a read, talk to me, mate. How are you feeling?
About time. I think it's a good appointment, though. It puts all the sort of Dyche, Wilder, Gary O'Neill rumours to rest. It'll be interesting to see what this man next to me has to say about that discussion, because he might not be too happy. But personally, I think it's a step in the right direction. We're going to do a show quite soon to talk about how Marty's going to get us to play. And I think it will suit the squad that we've got. And I think it will lead to seeing some exciting football at the King Power this season.
Absolutely. And just to give some context to what Anil meant there, we are live at 7 o'clock for the analysis. Perfect timing. We're all excited. So 7 p.m. we will be
Thanks,
live.
John Rodkin, for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%, mate. Imran, over to you, mate, before we bring stuff up to have a look at and have a read. Martí Cifuentes, the worst kept secret in Leicestershire, in the world, in the last few days. But here we are.
Yeah, I mean, look, we knew it was going to happen, right? We thought it'd be Friday, but there was issues with the appointment due to the backroom staff. But we all knew what was going on, right? So it all looks like it's all sorted, the compensation. And Anil, look, I was never Dyche, right? I was more Martin role, but I'm happy because now we've got something to look forward to. And I'll be honest with you, whichever manager would have taken over, I would have given him my 100% support because that's what we should do as fans. So I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. I'm over the moon, actually. Perfect news for a Tuesday evening. We can plan now for the season. I think I was mentioning to you guys that the players don't know what's going on, but now they do know. We've got 4 weeks to go for the start of the season. That's enough time to prepare, enough time to get the players out. We don't want get the players in that we potentially can get in, depending on PSR and all that good stuff. But it just calms the mood now, doesn't it? And we can look forward to the season.
100%. Just a quick one as well. A lot of people were saying 6 o'clock. I put a little game in the chat earlier today in our group chat and asked people to guess, and the winners were Tom, Ragsy, and Duck. They all predicted 6 o'clock. So shout out to them. Here's Manny, mate. Before we load up the statement and all of that, all the way from Turkey, I think it is. How's it going, mate? Martí Cifuentes is here.
Finally, the time has come for Leicester to have a new manager. Blimey, how many days has it been? Far too many.
I think 18. I think I worked out earlier. Yeah.
Wow. The stress was getting there. Sorry if my internet connection is a bit dodgy. As you can see, I'm not usually in my normal place. But all I can say, delighted we got it over the line. Is any word about Andy King?
Let's do it now. So just bear with me. Let me bring up the statement from the club and let's just see what they have to say. Here we go. So Leicester City appoint Martí Cifuentes as manager. There you can see him with the Leicester City scarf on, looking nice. We are delighted to announce the appointment of Martí Cifuentes as new Leicester City Football Club first team manager, effective immediately. The 43-year-old signs a 3-year deal at the King Power. He coached in Spain, the Netherlands, and Scandinavia. His most recent experience was as manager of Queen's Park Rangers. The 43-year-old joins us on a 3-year contract, bringing a modern progressive footballing philosophy to Filbert Way, along with rich experience across a number of European leagues. He will be joined by assistant manager Xavi Calm, 43, who worked alongside him in his previous role at Queen's Park Rangers. There is a couple bits here. I'm going to come back to that in a second. I just want to see if there is anything about King. There isn't. We are assuming that he will still be here, so I don't think we need to worry about that. But this is a statement from Top. He says, "We're delighted to welcome Martí to Leicester City. His energy, ambition, and clarity of ideas stood out throughout the recruitment process.
And Price.
We felt strongly that bringing him to the club would help us to create success we all want in the years ahead. Martí is an excellent fit for our club. His personal and coaching qualities will be vital to building an identity our fans will be able to see reflected in their team on the pitch." And then finally, from Martí himself, "It's a great honour to be appointed Leicester City manager. This is a fantastic club with a proud history, and it's a privilege to me to be asked to help write the next chapter. I'm looking forward to getting to know the players as well as connecting with our supporters and the city in the weeks and months ahead. I can see the passion that exists here, and I'm excited to begin this journey together." So there we go. There's some words from Martí. There's some words from Top. Confirmation that Xavi Calm will be the assistant manager coming over from QPR with him. What do you make to all of that, Anil, mate? It's at least we've got an assistant manager to come with him, because that didn't happen with Ruud. We had to wait weeks and weeks for that, but it's a good start.
It is. It's a late start, let's be honest. But look, I think we can quit complaining now and get on with it, which I think is the important thing. We're all ready for that. I really am super still disappointed in the club in how long it's taken to get this. But I think we've been saying it all summer. I think it is a good appointment. I think it is nice they mentioned the progressive style. So that's good to see. So at least it's kind of on brand for what we're expecting from the squad. And genuinely, I am excited to see this manager. I think this manager does deserve a chance with a squad as good as Leicester in this division. And let me ask everyone here, how do you think he will do? I think he will do well. I think we'll get playoffs at worst. Secretly, I'm hoping for better than that. Let's see.
I think I agree with Anil 100%. It all depends on the PSR, right? I'm still waiting. Any news on when we're going to hear about that? No idea. Nope. But as soon as we get to hear about that, then I think that'll put everyone to rest. We'll know where we start, how many points we've got deducted or not deducted. And then we can, I agree, it's playoffs minimum with the squad we've got at the moment. But we know there's going to be outgoing. So it depends who goes as well.
Manny, obviously we read the statement there from Top. There's a mention about his style of play, his youth development and his character all contributed to the decision to make him the new manager. Look, we've been saying it for weeks, Manny, because we've known for weeks that Ruud is going to go, but the youth, the focus on the youth had to be a priority, and it does look like, from what we've seen from researching the man as well, that Martí will focus heavily on that too.
Well, we were worried about a compatibility issue, weren't we, when we were being linked with people like Dyche and Wilder and others, and we were wondering, is the club actually looking at the style of football that these managers play, and do they know the type of footballers that we have on our books? And can anybody do 2+2, please? We were very, very scared that they couldn't, but thank God that in that statement that they have come. So I think is a very good conclusion. They've come up with a good appointment. I think it is compatible with our squad. I think the squad will buy into Martí and what he's trying to do. They've already shown liking that style of football under Enzo. They wanted him back post Cooper, that kind of thing. So I think finally, after being around the houses and lots of worries, I said, stay calm. Stay calm. We are not, it will be total madness to get Wilder. It made no sense at all. And nobody is that daft to pick Wilder with it when your squad doesn't work. If your squad was completely different, then maybe. So, look, in the end, and I've got a dash, so I just popped in for a few minutes because otherwise my wife says I'm late for dinner. That's not good.
Yeah.
Just finally, all we can say is that as a fan base, I think we should be happy with this decision. I am happy with this decision. If it all goes wrong, I don't think we can blame the board or Rudkin or Top. So I think this one does make sense out of all the names linked. I do think there was maybe one or two other names that should have been considered, but having been around the houses and ended up where we have, I'm happy with that. So just pumped and excited now for the new season. Let's get on with getting some of this dead wood out of the squad. Let's see what Martí wants to buy. and let's get some of these kids. Let's not play lip service now. Let's actually give these youth some game time. Let's see them get proper, suitable levels of game time depending on where they are. And boys, all I can think is worst case scenario is that we lose in the playoffs. That is as bad as I think it will be. Famous last words, but I think that is the worst case scenario. So, vamos, Martí, and let's go back into the Premier League. Primera tiempo. Vamos! And on that note, I'm out of here. Bye-bye.
Bye, mate. See you soon, mate. Well, Manny's excited, and I've already seen this online. HMS. I can actually see John Rudkin there at the top right, which is quite funny. On the very top right, but I mean, people are excited, Anil, and I think I think it's only fair we are, because there's no point. It is easy for us to sit here and say, oh, it's taken so, moan about it, but we have waited so long. Now we can just forget about the manager situation, because we've been talking about the manager situation, I want to say probably since February, that there's been calls for Ruud to be sacked since February, 2 months in with him. It went on and on and on. Here we are now, finally, the 15th of July, with a new manager, a squad that we think in its current state is capable of pushing for promotion. And we can be excited about that and look forward.
If you're not excited now, tune in 45 minutes time and I'm going to get you very excited. So obviously I actually started doing one for Danny Roll because I thought he was going to be our manager and I was pretty excited. But actually covering Martí Cifuentes, I think he's the better choice. I'm not just saying that. The more that I looked at his style and what he's trying to do. And, the thing that concerned me is that Sheffield Wednesday finished 12th and QPR finished 18th. And you're thinking, well, hang on a minute, because the QPR score was probably a bit better than Sheffield Wednesday one, which I don't think is necessarily true, but I think there is an argument for that. But I'm going to show you clips, and it is hilarious how they make these incredible attacking plays, and QPR, they have some bozos on their team. I'm going to show you some epic misses that will make Wout Faes look like the Ballon d'Or. And that for me is a good sign, right? Because if you're seeing that the team and the coaching structure is working, and it's just that it didn't work because of the playing personnel, then you take that and apply that to a team that's already got good players and got young players that are developing well. And I think it's super, super exciting. And I think we've also been linked with a player today called Coley, who is like a 19-year-old striker from QPR. And he was basically given his opportunity as a substitute in one of the games for QPR. He scored twice on his debut, and then he scored, I think, like 5 and 6. He scored against us, you might remember, the King Power. Now, I don't necessarily think we should sign a player like that, but I think that shows you again that he's not just lip service. He's actually walking the walk, right? He does give young players a chance. They clearly buy into his setup and they can get it to work. So I think that's really exciting too. So I am super duper excited to see what he can bring. I think the style will fit. And I think, spoilers for a bit later, but I think he actually plays a more exciting brand than Enzo does. And that's what I think he could be a really good fit for us at the King Power. Because let's face it, we want to see some excitement back in this team.
Just before I come to Imran, again, Anil mentioned it there, just to remind everybody, because there is over 300 of you in here, 7 p.m. So in 45 minutes, we will be live again for the analysis. So this will be exciting. I can't wait to see everything that we've got going on. Trust me, there will be no monetization on the video either, because we want to show the viewers as much as we can. There's videos and all sorts that we're going to be putting up, showcasing Martí Ball. Imran, I know you've got to jump in a sec before we get Tom in, so let me come to you. Anil mentioned it there, and I think Manny did as well, the squad that we've got. And, we have these debates in our group chat about whether Enzo would have kept us up and all of this, right? All this, what if conversations. But we do know, Imran, that the quality of our squad is good enough to play this way in the Championship. So that is only a positive, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Like, look, if we go with the squad we've got, we have no incomings, no outgoings. With that squad, you'd be expecting top 2. I'm sorry, that's just my view. The top 2 with Fatawu back as well from injury, and also with the young players that are coming through as well. We've got a very big squad, but let's be honest, we are going to see at least 4 or 5 players leave. It's just the question is, who are those players? Hopefully it's Vestergaard. Hopefully it's Ayew. Hopefully it's Cordova-Reid. All those slow twitch fibers. But on paper right now, we know that this squad is good enough to get promoted.
Yeah, 100%. And we're not. No one's expecting loads of signings and things like that, Imran. But if we can get 1 or 2 through the door that are in the areas we most need them,
striker.
Well, yeah, there we go. Taking points deductions out of it, the squad will be good enough to compete at the very top. So, right, Imran, I'm going to let you go, mate. Thanks for jumping on, pal. Much appreciated. We'll
All
see
right,
you very
I'm going
soon,
to
mate.
put a K bet on us to win the league next week. All right.
Okay, bet.
See
Nice
you
one,
later.
mate. See you soon, Imran. All the best. Yeah, okay, that's all right, Anil. Let's get in Tom. Oh, I clicked the wrong button. There he is. What's going on, mate? Finally, we've got a manager. Hola, should I say? Hola,
Olá,
Tom.
posso esperos, por favor. You know, boys, it's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming. I'm happy. I'm over the moon with the appointment. I work with a QPR fan, Gary, who does watch us from time to time, see what I have to say. And he said he's a good manager. He did a lot of good work at QPR with a very, very small budget. He brought in a lot of loan players who are quality and built the squad up. And if they hadn't had the injuries, he said they would have carried on the challenge. But sadly, they had too many injuries and the season dipped off. And that's why, obviously, they fell out between QPR and the board and the manager, because they just felt like he just gave up because he didn't get the backing. But he said he's a very good coach. He has a way of playing that will get you off your seats. He likes attacking football. He likes to get the ball down to the wingers quickly and wide. Yes, he likes to keep the ball as well, but he is all about getting the ball forward quickly and through the line. So he said, you've got the players to use it. And he said to me, if you can get a decent striker in, then, you know, you've got all the makings to have a good season. And I've already said that the squad we've got is a top 6 squad on what we've got. I don't think it's top 2. I think it's a playoff push. But again, it all depends what business we can do between now and the window shutting, what is going to be crucial for this manager, because he's going to want to bring some players in to strengthen this squad, because we do need it.
Yeah, I mean, Anil, you know, one of the things that has frustrated me over the last few weeks when we've spoken about Danny Roll and we've spoken about Martí Cifuentes is a certain demographic of fan have said, what's he done? What's he done? He's never been promoted. He's never, right. But there's context, right? The quality of squad that he had to work with. Same with Danny Roll at Sheffield Wednesday and QPR. There's only so much you can do, and he had a great start. I mean, again, they were in the mud as well. He came in, that he kept them up just like Roll did. We all remember that 4-0 smashing of Leeds United at the end of 2 seasons ago, which got Leicester promoted. He's gonna walk into that changing room, mate. And I know we moan about some of the players in there. He's gonna walk into that changing room and go, "Ooh, this is a different class."
That's why I think he was so willing to work for Leicester and willing to pay the compensation. I bet he cannot wait. Like I say, when we look at how they play, I actually, as part of the analysis, went and watched back full games of QPR, extended highlights, all this kind of stuff, right? And I can understand why they were good and why they were bad. And fundamentally, why they were bad is they just didn't have the sort of players that he really needs to play the sort of style that he wants to do. And even then, he did get good results and performances out of them. And I think when you see that and you think to yourself, oh my God, imagine if instead of that being Sam Field, that's Ricardo Pereira, instead of that being, you know, Elias Chair, it's Jeremy Monger, etc., etc. To be fair, Elias Chair did quite well for them, but you'll see what I mean. When you see how it is, right, you'll understand like why this is, I think, a really good match for us. So look, we can never guarantee what's going to happen, but I think the style is going to be good, and that's good. And yeah, coming back to your point, I mean, there's been plenty of managers who didn't really achieve much until they got given a certain job, and all of a sudden they flew away with it. Enzo Maresca was the obvious thing. He's just beaten PSG 3-0, by the way, in a Club World Cup final. He used to be our manager. I mean, Pep Guardiola, he only really was managing the reserves of Barcelona before he got given the main job and absolutely smashed it there. Vincent Kompany came into Burnley, did really well there. Okay, not so well in the Premier League, but proved he was good again in the Bundesliga. So, you know, I think that's really important. And I think, you know, don't get me wrong, I do have a lot of respect for managers who are able to get results with not that good resources. And I think you do have to give some credit to people like Sean Dyche for doing that, right? But there does seem to be a ceiling of where they can take a team to. Whereas I think with this type of manager, I am excited again because I can see us getting to the Premier League. I think it will be a challenge, but I could see him being in charge of us for quite a long time and developing the players. And me personally, that's what I want to see, a bit of a legacy, you know. Like, I actually don't want to be talking about managers for quite a few years, to be honest. I want to be talking about how, yeah, look at this, we're pushing for Europe in the Premier League. That's what the good days, bring them back.
Yeah. I mean, Tom, you know, again, you've seen the debates that we sometimes have about would Enzo have kept us up and all of this stuff, right? But do you think this is the type of appointment we should have made when Enzo left? You know, stick with the continuity. that we had under Enzo? Because clearly the players didn't take too kindly to the switch up from Cooper. We saw what happened 10 years ago when Ranieri came in. He didn't change too much, and that kind of worked. But, maybe we changed too much going in with Steve Cooper.
Oh, it was a massive change. It was a complete opposite to what you'd built on. You built a foundation of this modern day ticky-tacky style of play, playing through the lines, a very precise style of play. There was no risky balls under Enzo. The ball wasn't on, you kept it until you had that ball, what was the perfect ball to score a goal from or try and get the ball into the danger area. You went to Cooper where it was very much, we'll keep the ball, but if there's a 50-50 ball on, we'll try and play that ball through the lines. And if we lose it, we'll just drop deep and try and defend. There was no art to what Cooper was doing. There was no real style of play. And you could tell that with the players got frustrated when they were trying to play the way that it played before. There was nothing there because none of the forwards were running. It was very much hit and hope, and hope there was a chance would come. And mainly in the last 20 minutes, we'd hope you'd tire teams out by sitting deep and block. You'd gone from a completely different style of playing. You could see the players just did not know what to do under Steve Cooper. You obviously then changed to Ruud, who was a very bit more like Enzo, trying to play through the lines. But again, he never got his style of play across the players. You've now gone back to really an Enzo-type manager who's going to want the ball. I think he'll play more riskier game at times with the ball going forward quicker. I don't think he'll want to keep it as long as Enzo did with the ball passing around the back and sideways. I think he'll look for a lot more diagonal balls, a lot more ball down the line into the wingers. And he's going to want a strike in the box, If you look at the way QPR were playing, they play with Frankie Fielding up front, and he's just a big target man, and all they're doing is getting the ball into the box and the wide areas. It is going to be very quick football, I think. And I think it will get you off seat more. I really do. I think this is the kind of appointment we should have made after Enzo. Problem is he was at a club. And I think at the time, last year, there was doubts about the points deductions. There was doubts about where the club were financially at and what we were going to be able to do as a club in the Premier League. And look, it put a lot of managers off last year. We're talking about Graham Potter. That's where we've gone from, Graham Potter to another manager. But I think this time around, the club has taken the time. They've spoken to a lot of managers by the sound of it. And obviously, This is the one who's come across with the most positive attitude, knowing that there's probably going to be a points deduction of maximum 10. And he probably feels he's going to get the opportunity to prove what he can do as a manager at, as he said, a big club and a club that's ambitious again.
Well, apparently Rob Dorset, I haven't got any proof for this. Apparently Rob Dorset has said on Sky that there's going to be 9 points, or he expects 9 points. So it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. It depends when the second one comes, because there are rumors of 2. There are rumors of 2, but we'll wait and see. Just quickly here, look, QPR have spoken as well. Martí Cifuentes and Xavi Calm have joined Leicester. Martí left QPR in June following a period of gardening leave. As part of the agreement, the club retained compensation rights for any future employment. This matter has now been concluded. Xavi reunites with him at Leicester. Let's just look at some of the comments before we end. Remember, we're going to end soon, but to the over 200 of you here nearly on YouTube, and then 400 in total, we are live at 7 p.m. for the analysis, where Anil's going to break it all down. Look at his T-shirt there. It says it on the tin.
That T-shirt's amazing, by the way.
Yeah, man.
Locks Designs. You got to tip them off heavily, but To
be fair, everything that happened last season aside, you dodged a bullet with Potter. A seemingly good fit with what we have. Yeah, exactly. Amazing T-shirt for real. It is available to everybody on bluetintedglasses.com. Bluetintedglasses.com. You can go and check it out. Let's have, nice one. Joe, Tom, I mean, if it's not obvious already, Tom, Joe asks, are you happy with the appointment?
Over the moon. I think out of all the managers we've been linked with, I think he's the best fit for the club. Do you know what? In some ways, he's a bit more experienced than Enzo. He's a bit older than Enzo, and I think he'll be a bit more wise. And he sort of, to me, brings out Nigel Pearson about him as well. I don't think he'll be standing for any nonsense. I think if something's not going right, he will be the first to tell the players that this has got to sort this out, and he will make tough decisions. I think when Enzo was sometimes probably a bit too matey with the players, and I think, but they had that bond, and when you're winning games, you don't really need to make those challenges, where this time around it's going to be a little more difficult in the championship. I think you look at the championship, it's the toughest it's been in years. The size of the clubs in there, I mean, we could talk about clubs coming up, but we're talking about Charlton Athletic. They were an established Premiership club when I used to go down the 90s and the beginning of the 2000s till they got relegated. We're talking about Wrexham who'll come up and give everyone a game. Birmingham City, they're a big club. They're not just come up, they've spent a hell of a lot of money down League One because they could get away with it, knowing they won't get touched coming back up for 3 years. It is going to be a very tough season. I just think he's the appointment that sort of settles the club back down again. I think it's a long-term appointment. I think the club feel this isn't a manager that is going to do well and then clear off. He's not got that kind of name behind him because he hasn't got that training from Pep Guardiola. He hasn't got that kind of stuff to go back to. The biggest thing, me and someone's put it in there, is keeping up. For me, I want to see Andy King part of the team. I think you need to have someone in there who's been around the club for a long time. And I think the transition with Andy King being at the club now, working with the players in the pre-season for the first 2 weeks, him staying in and around that coaching team is vital for me, for the managers to get to know the players and need to tell him what the players are like and who can do what really. I know he'll probably look at them each individually, but I think keeping Andy is a massive, massive part of what should be the rebuild of Leicester City for me.
Yeah, 100%. Last thing I want to ask you, keep Bilal Al-Khanis. Last thing I want to ask you, Anil, mate, is Tom mentioned about his personality and Tom doesn't think he'll take much shit. I mean, this doesn't appear to be a yes man. You know, people have spoken about they're worried that John Rudkin and Top might appoint a yes man, but from what I've seen and what I've read of Marty's time at QPR, he wasn't afraid to say what he thought, and that's a positive. It's not going to be someone who just shuts his mouth and puts up with it and lets all the chaos go on. He will call it out for what it is.
Yeah, big time. I do think there's maybe a slight worry in that. I didn't realize that boy George joining us. There might be a slight worry just because one of the reasons why he sort of fell out with West Brom, I think there were two main reasons. One, I don't think he felt he was backed enough to get the sort of style of play over that he wanted to achieve, especially in the January transfer window. But then he was basically talking to West Brom, and I think he fancied that job after Corberan went. And they were like, well, all right, if you don't want to be here, then don't. And it all sort of went a bit sour. And I think he lost the players a little bit there as well. So, I mean, we've said that in the past is, well, what happens if we appoint a manager and the first big job that comes up, he leaves for it? But I just think that's success, isn't it? It's the same with the players. You've just got to accept how it is. And, you know, we just take it, you know, roll with the punches, so to speak. So I think you're right, though. I think that from what I've seen, players who aren't doing the running, who aren't getting stuck in, he will pull them off and he'll play young players in their place, which I think is really important. He doesn't care about their name. He cares about the performance on the pitch.
Yeah, let's just play this quickly. Let's see what he has to say.
Really excited to be here. Looking forward to start to work with the guys, to meet everyone at the club, and especially looking forward to start to train and experience what is this club about.
And what can you bring to Leicester City?
Hopefully we're going to bring a lot of joyful football, attractive attacking football, and as well a great opportunity hopefully to engage everyone from the young players to the more experienced, and try to get the main target, which will be obviously to be back where this club belongs.
And what's your message to the Blue Army?
Looking forward to meet them, looking forward to feel their support, and obviously hopefully we can deliver for them good performances and a football that they will enjoy. Really excited to be here.
There we go. Somebody said it looks like he loves a spreadsheet.
Good.
Quite funny. yeah, hopefully. Joy, yes, please. That looks like AI. We had enough of this yesterday with the shirts, the kit leaks. Okay, we are going to end it there. Listen, everybody, 7 o'clock. It's 28 minutes away. Make sure that you are waiting on the channel at 7 p.m. because we're going to be going live with the Martí Cifuentes analysis, breaking it all down, exactly what Leicester fans can expect this season from the team under him. Lots of videos, lots of stats, I'm sure, data, maybe even an lots of stuff like that. So, 7 o'clock. Make sure you're there. Cheers, Tom. Cheers to Imran as well. Did I miss it? Was it just Imran? Manny as well, and Anil, of course. See you at 7 o'clock, guys. Are we all saying a vamos or vamos?
Vamos.
Yes.
There we go. See you soon.